Hi everybody, today's lesson is going to be on combining like terms with equations. Sometimes when you're solving an equation, the first thing that you will have to do is to combine like terms on same sides of the equal sign. Let's start with a quick overview of combining like terms. So if you were to have 3 hearts and you wanted to add 2 hearts to that, what would you end up with? 5 hearts. And the reason why you have 5 hearts, you can combine them together because they're both hearts. They have the same variable, let's call it, because we're going to jump into variables in a second. So let's look at the second example. We have 2 hearts plus 5 stars plus 4 hearts. If we were to combine these all together, what would we have? Well, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hearts. So these 2 hearts right here and these positive 4 hearts right here is going to equal 6 hearts. And then we also have 5 stars, which we can't combine with hearts because they're not the same thing. So this is 6 hearts plus 5 stars. We're talking about hearts and stars, but this could just as easily be x's and y's or any variable that we see when we're solving equations. So these hearts right here, this could have been 3x plus 2x gives us 5x, or 2x plus 5y plus 4x gives us, let me change the color here, 6x plus 5y. It's the same type of process we are combining when we have the same variables. The strategy that I want you to use, you see here, when you are looking at an equation, when you see 2 terms that you want to combine, when we're saying combining like terms, I drew a box around this 2 heart or 2x and a box around this plus 4x or heart. And that's the strategy that I want you to use. Let's see what this looks like when we're solving an equation. So right here, we have 1 1/3 x plus 1/6 x equals 36. The very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to draw your line down the equal sign. You can only combine like terms if they are on the same side of the equal sign. You can think about the balance scale that we talked about with equations. What we're doing here is if we have, say we have a bunch of x's on this side, we're just combining them and writing it as one term. We have terms to combine in this first equation. So this is a positive 1 1/3 x. This is a positive 1/6 x. When we're combining like terms, keep the sign with the term that you are boxing in. So I'm going to write that down. Keep the sign. This becomes really important when there's negatives or subtraction involved. Keep the sign with the term. So I'm writing this note right in the middle of where we're solving the equation, but that's okay. Keep the sign with the term. So now I have 1 1/3 x. My coefficient is 1 1/3, positive 1 1/3. My coefficient here is positive 1/6, so we can add them together. 1 1/3 plus 1/6. You can always use your calculator here. We're going to get, wrong pen. Oops. We're going to get 1 1/2 x when we add. So let's put a note here. This was 1 1/3 plus 1/6. That gives us 1 1/2 for my coefficient. And that's still going to equals, notice I'm writing the equal sign directly below where it was before, and I still have 36. on the right side of my equation. Now I am going to take 1 1/2 x as my coefficient. I am going to divide both sides by 1 1/2. And that's going to give me 1 1/2 divided by 1 1/2 is 1. So I'm left with 1x on the left. And on the right, I am going to get 24. We do have to check this equation now. We think that x is equal to 24. So everywhere we see an x, we're going to plug in 24. So this is 1 1/3 times 24 plus 1/6 times 24. And the question is, does that equal 36? I am going to plug this right into my calculator exactly how it is here. And I'm going to get 36 when I hit enter. So 36 does equal, the right side does equal the left side, so our check works. Let's look at our next example. P minus 5p equals 120. When the coefficient is not showing up, that means that the coefficient is 1. It's very helpful to put a 1 in there so that you remember that. Combining like terms, I have a positive 1p and I have negative or minus 5p. When I combine my like terms, this is going to be 1 plus negative 5, or 1 minus 5. That's going to give me negative 4p is equal to 120. From here, I can divide by negative 4 on both sides of my equation. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1, so that leaves 1p on the left, and on the right we get negative 30. Now we have to check. So everywhere where I see the variable, I think it is negative 30. So I'm going to write negative 30 minus 5 times negative 30, and the question is, does this equal 120? I am going to plug this into my calculator, and I am indeed going to get 120. So I know that this equation checks. Okay, time to practice. Negative 1/4 d minus 2/5 d equals 39. The answer here is d is equal to negative 60. Be careful with your negatives. When you combine your like terms, it's negative 1/4 plus negative 2/5 to get negative 13 over 20. You divide both sides by negative 13 over 20 to get negative 60. The next practice problem is negative 3.5y minus 6.2y equals negative 87.3. Y is equal to 9. You combine negative 3.5y and negative 6.2y, divide by negative 9.7 to get your answer. Last but not least, 4/5 m minus 1/5 m equals 21. Solve for m. Here's my work. I combined 4/5 and negative 1/5 to get 3/5, divided both sides by 3/5, and I got m is equal to 35.